Well, welcome, young and old, to the greatest escape room puzzle show. I'm Tone, and I'm here in the Poconos location for this week's episode of Puzzle Talk. And it has been chaos this morning. Joining me today is Mike Parada. Mike, say hi.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm Mike Parada. Happy to be here.
So we have, I guess for better or worse, uncovered some big issues we ended up having out here, which is, it's the Poconos, so the internet quality is immediately a little bit worse than it is in our New Jersey locations.
It's the mountains.
It's the mountains. So if you're seeing a little bit of a lag, by all means let us know, and we will try to do our best to work on the usage of how much we're eating here. But and making sure that no one else is on the Wi-Fi and so forth and so forth. So we'll do our best. We already had to change computers because the one computer here didn't have enough processing power for the show. So, it's, like I said, it's been a little bit chaotic. Beyond that, Christina's on her way here, but she had a major issue this morning. So, with keys. So it's been, like I said, it's a mess. It's a total mess. But we're here. We're ready to engage you guys and get into some topics and have some fun. So without further ado, Mike, what's our first topic?
So first topic, we're going to go ahead and give ourselves a special shout out to Asbury Park Press. Asbury Park Press featured us in their online article showcasing different scary events happening in the tri-state area between Manhattan, New Jersey, in kind of a top 4. We made it to number 2 behind Bane Haunted House, and number 3 there was Fright Fest that you can see at Six Flags Great Adventure, and then there's 4th place, the Eastern State Penitentiary, a real popular haunting spot here in Pennsylvania.
Well then, that's a lot to swallow. So the photo that you have on here, Mike,
yes.
What is that from?
That's actually from the article. I believe that is from the Bane Haunted House.
Okay, that makes sense. So we're sort of friends with Bane. Jennifer and her husband have visited Trapdoor locations before, and
oh wow.
So really kind of cool to always have a camaraderie. And as a lot of people know that watch the show, we almost built a game at Six Flags Great Adventure.
Did we really?
Yeah. It's always kind of fun to hear different names brought about. But really cool that we've got a relationship with one of the companies. We almost worked with another one of the companies. And then Eastern State Penitentiary is always really known as this mega event for Halloween.
Absolutely.
But how freaking cool that Cure Z is number 2 on this list.
Absolutely, one of the coolest things. And it definitely deserves to be there, too. I think it's one of the creepiest escape rooms and just experiences in Pennsylvania as it stands, which is a lot because Pennsylvania is home to a lot of, supernatural things and just scary in general.
Yeah, I mean, the, what's awesome is, and I think this is an upcoming topic anyway, but, there's that element of PA is known for zombies because of George Romero, which I know you wrote a topic about, but I don't want to jump too far ahead. We'll stick to this first. But, a little bit about each place on the thing. Bane Haunted House, they had a couple different places to hold their hat. And they were in New Jersey for for pretty much, I think, their entire career until recently. This year marked the first year that they are officially in New York.
So this is the first time they're actually in New York? Okay, that's awesome.
Yes, thanks for the repeat.
Yeah, no problem.
I didn't know there was so much of an echo in here. It's amazing. But no, they opened up a massive facility in Manhattan.
That's got to be great for business, though, with the population, especially just kind of in general in Manhattan, as opposed to all of New Jersey.
Well, really cool too is I noticed the other day, Jen posted on her Facebook page, they have a massive digital billboard in Times Square.
Oh, that is excellent advertising.
So I don't even want to know what that costs, Jen. But let me know.
We'll put it on the wish list.
Manhattan is an area we're looking to get into at some point in our ventures. So that would definitely be a way to make a splash, especially with Escape Stream. That would be amazing too.
New York, we're coming for you.
One of these days. And then obviously Cure Z. Now, the interesting element here too is that Cure Z, I don't think it could have made this list when it was in Red Bank. It didn't. It didn't make the list when it was in Red Bank.
Truthfully, I don't know much about the Red Bank location other than instead of just being a 2-hour experience, it was a 2-floor experience.
It was, but even still, its size was a quarter of what it is here.
Oh, wow.
We're in Cure Z right now, matter of fact.
Being joined by the lovely Ava.
Yes, Ava is also a member of the broadcast today, apparently. But and pictured is Cure Z with Trapdoor's very own hiring manager, Chris Murphy. Actually pictured in that photo in the center on the keyboard. We had, when we opened it, most of the team didn't play it or know much about the game, so they all came out and played, which was really cool.
It's always great to have kind of the people who help build the game and work for the company play test it, because then you get kind of the real honest feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much larger, but even so, it's not the size of a full-fledged theme park.
Oh no, of course
like
not.
Six Flags. Now, having said that, Fright Fest is not all of Six Flags. Fright Fest is a handful of mini attractions within Six Flags.
I've never actually been to Six Flags. I had a pretty sheltered childhood.
Well, Six Flags is a pretty big deal in New Jersey. Matter of fact, why don't you go take a peek real quick and see if Chris Murphy is still doing an interview, because Chris used to work there.
Yeah, I'll go check real quick.
Because if he isn't, we'll bring him in. And suddenly I'm alone. No one but me. Hey there, camera. Very interesting, I guess, piece of that puzzle with Six Flags is that, the whole park is definitely decorated for it. But, hey, Chris.
Hello.
Oh, I thought you'd be interviewing.
She's not here yet.
Oh, well, that answers that.
Everyone.
Well, there you go. Now you're on camera.
There you go. Cool.
So, Chris, we don't have a nameplate for you because this was kind of not, immediately in our plan book. But since you worked at Six Flags, Mike and I, which Mike, you're not even in camera.
Oh, here, let me go ahead and just
scoot over a hair there.
There you go.
All right,
There you go.
Cool. Get comfy.
Now I got you.
Get real comf.
There you go.
Move over a little bit. There you go.
I don't
Okay. I just pushed them in
Yeah,
their
right.
spots. Get in there. Basically, Asbury Park Press put together an article, and they had stated top haunted attractions for this year to visit, and it was 4 attractions: Bane Haunted House, Cure Z, right here in the Poconos,
There you go.
Six Flags Great Adventure for their Fright Fest attraction, and Eastern State Penitentiary. Now, Chris is actually our... There he is. Chris is our fairly newly appointed hiring manager for Trapdoor. He brings in all of our new recruits, trains them for their positions, and he also used to, once upon a time, work for Six Flags Great Adventure. He's Six Flags alumni. And you worked at Fright Fest.
I did. I started 2012, actually, the 2012 season. And every year from then on, I was part of their setup, takedown. They kind of get you in makeup to become a character. Worked my way up to supervision. So each section, they have little sections. I don't know, for anybody who's gone to Fright Fest, there's zombies and stuff walking out on the streets, of course, scaring you. But then there are upcharged trails that people have to pay extra money to go into.
That's mean.
But I mean, they do get fairly great reviews. So the last 2 years I worked there, I was in charge of one specific one. So kind of worked my way up there. But
Which
it is
specific
popular.
one?
It was called Aftermath. This last year I worked. The year before that was called Wasteland. So 2016 Wasteland and 2017 Aftermath. For those of you, for anybody, whoever is watching, if you happen to recognize any of those trails or me, shout out. I mean, but yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was very intense. Not only working as an actor, but also running it too. I had a team of maybe, I want to say 16 ghouls. Half of them were minors.
Wow.
So yeah, it was tough at times, but it was an experience to say the least.
Any crazy happenings that ever took place in any of those?
I have gotten hit before, and not even as
Whoa.
a character.
Oh my
not
God.
even as a character. I was protecting one of my characters, one of my ghouls. It was a minor too. So the minor got pushed and shoved. It was one of these nights later on towards the end of October. It gets very, very, very popular.
Right, you're closer to Halloween.
Yeah, way more crowded at the end of October, and it was a Saturday night.
Ooh.
So people were just ruthless. And one of my minors got pushed. Won't really mention any names, but she was a little freaking out a bit. So I had to go to the exit, because usually that's where you go. You meet up with your security guard, you handle the situation, and I got shoved out of the way onto the exit with this guy. And security, of course, caught up to him, but there was a whole big altercation, and there was a bunch of stuff we had to fill out, and Jackson police even sometimes are there.
Okay.
It gets that crazy. Luckily, my incident wasn't that crazy, but I mean, like, I'm not even an actor and you're pushing me. So, this guy was just so mad that we were accusing him of pushing one of the ghouls, and like she had to come out and say something too. It was really awkward.
What do you
That's
think is the best attraction at Fright Fest?
Currently, honestly, I really want to say just walking around, really. I mean, granted, not knocking the trails, and because I mean, upcharged trails, they're good. That's why they're upcharged. But even just to be able to walk around and see everything so diverse, different sections. You have a section for clowns and games. Then you have a section out in the back of the park, which is kind of like a western area. You get to see everything. If you're like a true Halloween junkie, you'll love just walking around too. You don't necessarily have to go on rides or go into the trails, but just the overall ambience of everything, I feel like, is what makes Fright Fest so popular.
Right.
And of course, people like getting the shit scared out of them, of course. You know,
You
people
sold
love
me.
their
I'm
jump
gonna have-
scares.
I'm gonna have to go to Fright Fest this year, my first time ever.
Yeah, it is worth it. I mean, if you're gonna go once throughout the whole year, wait till October. Wait till Fright Fest.
Okay.
Just because you still get to go on the rides and stuff, but you have that amplified.
I have not been in a while, but I do remember, I mean, we used to get the season pass and go a few times a year. But I always remembered that Fright Fest was the easiest time to get on the real rides.
Yes.
Because everyone's
especially at night.
walking around doing the
Yeah.
So the
Fright
lines
Fest
are
stuff.
so small.
And the lines are
So
much
short.
smaller.
More towards the end of the night when everything starts to really happen. Like, they do have daytime Fright Fest, which isn't like the monsters aren't out, but all the decorations are out. You have character shows. I dressed as a mummy.
Oh.
So in a daytime show, I was a mummy. It was like a giant white tuxedo with what I'm pretty sure it was like beef netting to make it look like cheesecloth, and there were just strips of it all over, all the way
Nice.
down. So that was very fun.
Is that your profile picture on Facebook?
It is.
Okay.
It
Yeah, I
is.
thought it sounded familiar.
Well,
Yes. That was
now
with
you
my
know
sister.
what to look for.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Which, Chris, I think I might have heard the door beep.
Yep. Okay.
See you, Chris.
See you later, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
I'll move on over.
So your next topic, Pennsylvania, birthplace of the modern zombie.
Asbury Park mentioned in their article about PA being the birthplace of the modern zombie, with the 1968 production of George Romero's production of Night of the Living Dead being filmed in Pittsburgh, taking place in Pittsburgh, which opens Pennsylvania up to a whole bunch of different kind of zombie-themed events. There's the zombie walk that happens basically all throughout the state. Multiple zombie-themed escape rooms up in Harrisburg. Obviously, we know what the best one is. And they do re-showings of Night of the Living Dead at locations and other George Romero productions. So, do you think that put us at an advantage opening up in the Poconos?
Well, it's funny you mentioned the zombie walk because, oddly enough, Asbury Park Press put the article up And Asbury is known for having the Asbury Park Zombie Walk every year.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's
I
a
knew it was
huge,
kind of
huge
like
event.
I knew it was it wasn't like a one state thing. I know other like places
Yep.
do it.
Yep, huge, huge, huge event. So that's cool. So does that put Curzy at an advantage? You know, probably. I would say probably. Now, I mean, having said that, Curzy did amazing in Red Bank.
Fair.
So, you know, if anything, the ticket sales are right in line. You know, the same amount of people are coming to Curzy out here as what came in Red Bank when it was in New Jersey. So, new territory hitting the same head counts, which is awesome. Actually, Curzy out here can fit more people, so it's probably seeing a few more. But you know, the travel out here is very, very different because
Right.
you know, here you're always dealing with who's out here on vacation because it's so much of
Yeah.
a resort area. Whereas in New Jersey, it was much more localized.
Yeah, a lot of our customers, you know, you ask like, oh, you guys, I ask them if they're local, you know, try to push sales, and I usually get the response, oh, we're visiting from Missouri, we're visiting from, you know, California or some other nonsense like that, because this is a huge Poconos area, just
Right.
a huge tourist location.
So, but I'm sure, like, in general, it has helped a bit because there's that nostalgia.
Do you think if you opened up the location in Pittsburgh, you might have made a bigger splash?
Who knows? I don't know. You know, it's like we get told all the time with Witch Hunt, which is in Morristown right now.
Right.
And Witch Hunt is scheduled to close by the end of the year.
Get it in while you can.
You know, you guys got to bring it to Salem. Is the one I get all the time.
I was going to say that's probably like the most obvious one.
Now, having said that, though, there's some issues with Salem because that area is very, very tiny shops.
Right, yeah, it's not exactly like a big bustling city.
No. So, you know, like finding space is an issue because where are you going to put, you know, like we already have a map of turning Witch Hunt into a 2-hour full-sized experience the way Curzy and Freak Show is.
And finding a location out in Salem is going to prove to be extremely difficult.
Where are you going to find a 3,000 square foot spot?
Yeah, I don't think any warehouses are for sale down there.
To set up shop. So it's not to say that we're not willing to try, but you know, it's like it's the same thing. But like putting Witch Hunt there, is it too on the nose, or would it make a killing because it's based in that time period of witchcraft in Salem?
Well, I've never been to Salem, so I don't know like their tourist footing.
I've actually never been either, but I do know though that there's, you know, it's like one of those same reasons we talked about. Putting Witch Hunt in
Jim Thorpe?
Jim Thorpe was because that town was so immersed in witchcraft and you know, and that kind of vibe that we figured this might be a no-brainer to put it in for even a small amount of time before putting it to where we wanted to put it.
And Jim Thorpe being the bigger city too is like an actual more like town than say Salem is.
Jim Thorpe's a pretty tiny little place.
I feel like it'd be easier finding a 3,000 square foot location than it would be in Salem, though.
We found one, and
that's true. Yeah,
the guy wasn't looking to lease to anyone. So, yeah, when you're looking to lease a space, it's got to be outfitted for someone to lease the space. Don't expect the future tenant to outfit literally everything. And then quote them one price, you know, and then be like, no, it's not gonna. It's gonna be $2,000 more a month because we're gonna have to put in HVAC.
That's absolutely ridiculous. That's just bad business.
So it's a bait and switch, and it's not the first time we've seen that. I'm not shouting out where or who this is, but
of course not.
But it's not the first time someone's pulled a bait and switch on us like that.
At least so now you know what to expect when it comes to doing that.
Yeah, it's immediately like, see you later. I don't want to implicate a certain situation, but this building was a bait and switch, and then they went back.
So it started out as a bait and switch, and then they just kind of like...
And then they treaded back, and they took the original deal.
Oh, at least they took the original deal.
Yeah. But I had to totally walk away and be like, we're not taking the space, and be okay with that. And then like 3 days later, they called up, and they're like, you drive a hard bargain.
Well, sometimes you just have to make an executive decision like that, you know?
But yeah, it was like, oh, we made a mistake was the comment. And
You know
it's
what?
like, that's your mistake. I
Let
don't
him
know
run
how
with
you
it.
made that mistake. You know, it's like you got to have pricing sheets to the address.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't make much sense otherwise. But, you know, the space is an issue, though. Like in the Poconos, there's tons of large square footage spaces.
Absolutely.
But in Jim Thorpe, there was not, and in Salem, there is not.
Okay.
So, you know, the question becomes, can you be right on the outskirts of Salem and still make the bang? But
I imagine that to be possible if you can like just cut the travel time traveling from Salem to something else for something that would be, say, Salem related.
potentially. Okay, what's our next topic?
Holiday themed escape rooms. An escape room known for putting decorations in their games during the holiday season or stepping up and opening a holiday themed escape room. With this begs the question, are holiday themed escape rooms profitable? I understand that there's a lot of funding and a lot of time that goes into building an escape room. So the things that we have to ask ourselves here is, you know, how much profit are you looking to, you know, can you really like break even with a holiday themed escape room, and how long could you even keep a holiday themed escape room open?
Well, people get pretty crazy with like their time frame of what they consider part of the festivities.
Right.
So,
Oh, they celebrate October and July.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Halloween is still almost 3 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
And if I walk in Home Depot or Lowe's, they're already setting up Christmas trees.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm pretty sure Walmart has like the fake Santa up already.
Having said that, buying things for the holiday is different than celebrating the holiday. I don't particularly believe anyone's going to start playing Christmas-themed escape rooms or holiday-themed escape rooms in October. I think
No.
your sweet spot is going to be probably third week of November.
Okay.
So maybe like open on the 15th of November.
Right, because you're breaching Thanksgiving there, so it's not inappropriate.
And you may be able to keep that momentum through the last day of January.
I was going to say, you could definitely keep it open through New Year's. So that's you're looking at about roughly 2.5 months of profit right there.
Right.
So with the funding that it takes for us to build one of our escape rooms, do you think that's enough time to break even?
No.
No?
No. But then again, 99% of these are not going to be 3,000 square foot holiday themed escape rooms.
That's also true.
They're going to be 150 to 200 square feet. So could we set up a room and be profitable if we had the space? Sure.
Okay.
Matter of fact, like, you know, we have our Puzzles and Corks Winter Wonderland theme.
Yeah, we do.
Now, that has played for 2 years now, so we're not playing it this Christmas. We're replacing it with a brand new theme. It's not going to be a specific to a holiday theme either. In the same way that, like, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. You know, whatever theme is going to take its place is going to be a more mass market theme that just takes place during the holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's not necessarily 100% connected to the holiday. But our Winter Wonderland theme will be available on Trapdoor Escape Stream for streaming. So you will be able to participate in that theme online if you like.
Nothing ever goes away permanently.
And we are keeping the theme available for holiday parties. So, like, if you want to have a special offsite event or something like that with us, we will bring that theme out. We're perfectly fine with that.
We have all the pieces.
But, you know, it's just for our in-house customers. People want new things.
Well, yeah, no, you gotta, especially when they're coming to a location, say if you have repeat customers, you're gonna want to give them something new every time to keep it fresh.
And that's a problem, too. Because, you know, if you're putting this in your venue,
right,
everyone who plays it in 2019, they're not coming back to play it again in 2020.
Exactly. You can't just reopen the same escape room with the same answers and stuff and expect the same customer.
You're going to have to change up your puzzles and a bit of your set design to keep it fresh. So you got to keep that in mind, too. So in my personal opinion, in my heart of hearts, I don't believe that these are profitable ventures.
Not over massively profitable. I would agree with you.
Once it's built, and you'll probably get new faces next year that you didn't get this year. But by year 3,
no, that's a beat horse at that point.
The only way that becomes profitable is to send it somewhere else.
Oh, to have like multiple locations,
Right.
I see. And then this year, like Christmas theme is going to be open in this.
Like
state.
if we had the extra space,
right,
to do it in Red Bank, and then move it to Morristown in 2020, and then move it to the Poconos in 2021, and then move it to our next location in 2022.
I can see that being like way more profitable.
But then again, what are you doing in those locations? Those previous locations for Christmas that year. So
exactly,
because they're going to hit these roadblocks.
You'll have repeat customers coming in expecting something new, and then you tell them, nope, got to drive a state away.
Exactly.
So with the holiday escape room comes a whole face of like just a bunch of different challenges on top of regular escape room challenges that probably might not be worth it.
Now, having said that, I know that other escape rooms have already done this.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I know Nick from iPanic has had holiday-themed games. I know there's a lot of talk about companies doing them this year. So it's not really my opinion that counts; it's your opinion that counts. What do you guys think? If you've already done these as fully themed escape room games, what has been the results? Let us know. We'd love to see your comments and talk about them either on a next episode or future episode, or during this one, depending upon how quick you hit the chat room. Let us know what you think. We're interested. Next up.
On to our next topic, escape room funding. At this point in the stream, we'd like to send a shout out to our friends at Come Not a Quest, as they are looking for investors to fund 2 brand new escape rooms. If we can offer some guidance to these guys when it comes to looking for funding, with Trapdoor in the past, how have we come to fund some of our games, especially some of the larger games we had? Funding a 3,000 square foot space is by no means an easy task.
So, this changes as your company evolves. When you have nothing to show, you're going to be very hard up to get someone to hand you money. Trapdoor has kind of like that almost fairy tale story at this point, so to speak. But what people don't see is the decade that we couldn't get anyone to hand us a penny before Trapdoor was ever a thing, and we couldn't raise funding. No matter what we did.
How long has Trapdoor been like a legitimate business?
Since summer of 15.
Summer of 15. So we've been official for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
Around 5 years. Okay.
Yeah, going into the 5th. Yeah. So, but we've been a business not operating as Trapdoor, but operating as Microtone.
Right.
An alternate reality since 2010.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are pushing on the whole like 10-year mark when it comes to the building.
So we
of
had
this.
to keep doing free.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came time to open Trapdoor in Red Bank, the way we had done it was a combination of 3 different sources. Source number 1, I maxed out my credit cards. Source number 2 was we had 1 investor at the time.
Only 1 investor.
Yeah, it was a minimal amount of money. We opened Trapdoor very inexpensively, and really rested on our film production and our just time.
Just everything that you could do without spending too much money. Just honed in on.
It's funny because you can't put a price tag on your time because you have a finite amount of it.
That's true.
However, and you can never get time back. Once it's gone, it's gone. However, having said that, your time is also worthless until it's valuable.
Well, time is money, as they say.
So, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into Red Bank opening with Escape the Architect, but we did it very inexpensively. The entire thing cost under $20,000.
Which is amazing as far as like building an establishment goes.
But it's also a very different world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very different industry than it was in 2015. And when we did that, you also have to keep in mind that we already had 5 years of learning curve of what worked and what didn't work when we were doing things for free. And like Windward Hotel was our first, I guess, great example of, we self-funded a project that was just one project with an end date on it, and being able to say like, okay, how much marketing had to go into selling out that showcase and so forth.
Right.
So we kind of knew what worked and what didn't work to get people in the door already. What we need to figure out when we opened Trapdoor was how did we bring down our overhead, because Windward Hotel ultimately cost as much as it made.
Oof.
So we didn't make any money.
Right.
So it was tougher to be able to, even with the one investor, say, and even myself, and my family at home, to be able to say, okay, we're going to charge all this. How are we going to keep the costs lower this time,
right,
so that we actually make money back?
Because at the end of the day, you need to make that profit.
Right, and that ultimately was, we couldn't include a cast of 9 to 12 people. It needed to be pre-filmed segments in the set,
exactly,
and so that this way you could keep those costs down, because actors are expensive, and we were able to do that. The third element was pre-sales.
Just getting the word out as early as humanly possible.
Yeah. Once, Kickstarter, no. You need to have some celebrity status in order to do that. It's not to say it's not possible, but you need to have some celebrity status to do it.
GoFundMe and Kickstarter are definitely popularity based. It's 100% based off of who you know.
So, once we knew we were opening, once that ball was rolling enough that we had our lease, which required 2.5 to 3 months security. Once we had our, which is usually your lease payment times 3, sometimes more. Sometimes you never know what they're going to ask for. We got very, very lucky with our first landlords.
Right.
And once we were in that ball rolling, then people want to board the
when they see that it's an actual business,
right,
that's building up instead of just a startup.
So like that initial lease payment was on my credit card. So that, but at least once we had the building, we were able to say like, our set design is going to be what this building looks like.
Right.
We intentionally found a space that looked like a serial killer might be held up inside this place.
Just walk in, you take a deep breath. This is creepy as hell. It's perfect. Where's the contract?
There was a little bit of that. So, what puzzles could we facilitate in this place without spending any money? And then the other investor, that money was more or less marketing.
Okay.
A street sign alone was $2,000 just to put on the front of the parking lot. And then we needed one on the building. So, you got to start printing promotional materials, brochures. A minimum order of brochures, you're spending between $700 and $1,000. So, all that stuff, now you got to hire people and you got to start canvassing. You got to get all those marketing materials out to the public. So you got to be ready in case you do get people in the door. So that's where all three of those segments came together for us.
Okay.
However, Escape the Architect did well, and then QRZ was a monster.
Yeah.
So once QRZ hit and everybody saw what it was doing, then people were like, can we give you money?
Yeah, because they just wanted to be on the train as the train was progressing forward.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. But the element though that a lot of people don't look at, and we didn't even look at it to a degree at that point, it was just like, we're doing awesome, keep going, is that if you're bringing in funding,
right,
it's because you're building the business larger, which means that it's going to take longer to get returns.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you're building it larger. That's time consuming. So like I do believe that most of the people that invested in 2017
right
expected returns in 3 months.
And that's just not the case.
It's not.
That's impossible by any stretch of the word.
So we're still returning those investments.
Of course.
We're, out of 3 investors that came in, our first investor for Red Bank is paid out and done. But out of the 3, we're still paying back investor 1.
Oof.
So we're, that's time consuming.
It is incredible.
Because once you commit to we're going to grow this company into something more, then it depends what was that commitment. Because, like, for example, we're trying to build Trapdoor into this, worldwide phenomenon of a brand.
Right.
Which means that what they invested only took care of one stage.
Whereas we're going to have multiple stages within the company.
So now their investment allowed us to create what is funding the next segments. And instead of paying them back, we're refunding. We're reinvesting that money coming in. So that money's not there for return on investment because it's going back into the business.
Right.
But that's the cycle. So now as the company grows, it's self-funding itself. Like we opened Poconos without any outside financial revenue. That was strictly based off of Morristown and Red Bank funding the Poconos.
But you were popular enough at that point that you could do that.
Right. And then now Freak Show, on the other hand, Freak Show was very, very expensive.
It was, and it's another one of those examples where the bigger it is, the harder it is to set up.
Well, QRZ is the same size.
Right.
But what we had going into QRZ was all the footage from when it was in Red Bank.
That's true. We did have a bit of
thousands of dollars that we now just own the rights to that footage. So that was just plug and play.
Well, whereas with Freak Show, we were starting from square one.
Right.
Like footage, the set design, everything.
They can't see it in view, but right to the side of me is the app, the massive supercomputer in QRZ. That developing and designing that app alone costs thousands. That is just proprietary now. We own it. It can go anywhere. It's literally plug a USB into an app now and you're good to go. It's not difficult. So the footage and the technology in the game was already there.
Right.
At that point, it was just expanding the set, and and then we had to redevelop some puzzles, but it was very inexpensive in comparison to Freak Show to set up QRZ. Freak Show, we had to create an entire sideshow.
Exactly.
And film it.
We didn't exactly have all the pieces to it coming in either. Right. We had to go out and get the hardware.
Costumes. And we spent... Chris Schwartz, our
engineer.
Director of engineering, he... we still have like $12,000 in invoice stuff we have to pay out for literally just little chips and sensors and little stuff like that because of some of the crazy stuff we did in Freak Show. And we're like, we've got $1,000 towards that at the moment. It's like further investing in your future while paying back those amounts. Now, same token. The company is at a different stage now. Trapdoor is a multi-million-dollar company now. So the banks constantly want to give us like multi-$100,000 loans and lines of credit.
Yeah.
Our own merchant service we can pull $100,000 from at any point if we needed to. So we're in a very different spot now.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we don't need to ask for investments anymore.
No, the investments just kind of come to us at this point, and that just kind of comes with the growth of the company.
I wouldn't, for example, I wouldn't bring in future investors for locations because I wouldn't want to split revenue with anyone.
Right.
They're doing that. I wouldn't want to. But they're also more of a franchise establishment than we are.
They are, yeah. I did read that.
So totally different business model. I want to own everything. So we're not going that route. But having said that, the different element there is it's not difficult for us because we've already established ourselves.
Right.
We're hitting 5 years now as a company that year over year has profited more money. I shouldn't even say profited because there's no profit when you're spending it all. But we've earned more money year over year.
Just because of the growth of our production quality, our size, and just kind of what we do as a company too.
Right. So more locations means more people coming in the door, but also higher quality means more people coming in the door.
Absolutely. When the people pay as much as they want to pay for one of our tickets, buying tickets to one of our games, you definitely expect to come in and see that top-notch quality.
Yeah. So, it's the whole thing. But To anyone who's out there looking to open up a business and they're looking for funding, there's life cycles, there's stages. You got to bootstrap it at the start. Finding investors is going to be very, very tough. You're going to have to either through savings or, I can't ever recommend maxing out credit cards because we were lucky. We sold, past our goals in that first month that Trapdoor opened. If we didn't, I'd be in a very different situation. So.
It is what it is.
I also don't like leaving myself a back door, though.
No, definitely not.
So, I'm very much a balls to the wall, in it to win it, live or die.
He's not exaggerating by any stretch of the word.
So, hopefully that helps for anyone that was watching for that.
Well, ComNotaQuest is a company that you mentioned is a franchise. The investment needed is $100,000 with 5% of all the income.
$170,000.
$170,000, my mistake. With 5% of the income from the games going to those investors with an approximate 3-year investment payoff. 6 investors, already contributed to ComNotaQuest with 4 already being paid off. So if you're interested in investing ComNotaQuest, be sure to hit them up at their website.
Now, on the same token that we just gave them that very nice selfless plug, also keep in mind that one of their locations in Manhattan just closed.
We speak only the truth, nothing but the truth.
Now, in fairness, it did not close to ticket sales.
What was the reason it closed?
I think it had something to do with code issues.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
So, hopefully they've learned from that mistake. But I've personally said that, our team has, as a team building event, visited ComNotaQuest and played with them. They make some incredibly cool games.
The one that I saw on their website that was super interesting to me was their Joker-themed escape room. A lot of their games...
All right, so that makes me slightly angry because that's intellectual property theft. But, and I believe we're talking about that at some point in the future here today, too.
Yes.
But, not Joker Cafe, but, a different thing. But, their games like The Impossible Murder Mystery, Cursed. Cursed is amazing. And Cursed is one that fell to that closing. That was in that location.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's disappointing.
Cursed is an amazing game. Very horror. But
okay, so it sounds like something I would enjoy for sure.
But they make really cool stuff. The problem is that it's so realistic that it might be life-threatening.
I see. Okay.
From chairs with actual real nails sticking up out of them that you could trip and fall onto.
Okay.
To
wow.
real steel hooks hanging from the ceiling that I tripped and caught my hand on, luckily in the loop, not the actual point. But their spots were a little dangerous.
I understand wanting to immerse the players, but I feel like that would fall under a step too far.
Yeah. So, what's next?
So, a good segue into our next topic would be, which is themed escape rooms. With the boom of escape rooms and the various different themes that come with them, it was certainly not long before rooms started to use big names for themes. I just mentioned the Joker-themed escape room at ComNotaQuest. In Australia, there was an article that posted 5 different Harry Potter-themed escape rooms, either with standalone establishments or libraries just kind of doing their own thing. Like other Potterheads, I myself would be super excited to go. Yeah, Potterheads. Love it. Would be super excited to go try one of these escape rooms just because I'm a huge fan. But how long before Warner Brothers comes in with the big hammer? And you see this all over the place. I saw, actually, again in Sydney, Australia, they were opening a Ghostbusters-themed escape room for my anime fans out there. Japan opened up a Rurouni Kenshin. If you don't know, it's the most popular samurai anime. I digress. They opened up an escape room about that in Japan. So how long before licensing becomes an issue? What are the risks that these companies are taking by doing this?
They're taking a huge risk. I can't personally attest to this because we've never done this.
Right.
When we were working with Six Flags, we were looking to gain licensing to a certain pointy-eared character, and ultimately, Six Flags could not get us the licensing. So, it's very difficult. There are companies that are easier. For example, Sony has licensed out Ghostbusters-themed escape rooms.
Oh, okay. So
I do know that some exist that are licensed. I think there's also a Ninja Turtles room that's licensed.
I did read about that one not too long ago.
So, it's very possible to get the licenses, but, be aware you're going to be splitting revenue.
Yeah, no, not all that profit is yours, especially when
Most
like big
of
name.
it's not.
Yeah, when big name companies like
They're gonna
Warner
take
Brothers. Yeah.
And having said that, for just as many Harry Potter themed games as there are, they're also being shut down
Left
constantly.
and right, constantly. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I actually was reading something about a bunch of like online ROMs that Nintendo shut down just because of licensing issues. It's when you use a copyrighted theme and you have no like stake in that copyright, they're gonna come after you because it is using likeness.
And like you can, a lot of people, what they'll try to do is be like the Academy of Wizards, like that type of stuff, or Joker Cafe is not, they're not actually saying this is Batman, this is the Joker.
Right.
They're not saying this is Harry Potter, this is Hogwarts. They're trying to allude to bring you in, but you are playing it in or some do just try to flat out copy it, and then
you have the ones too that are also like they copy it, but they also like you ever go into Spirit Halloween?
Of course.
And you find a
I know where you're going with this.
You see a Super Mario costume, but all it says is Italian plumber on it.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly how people try to skirt around the legalities here. But ultimately, if you're popular enough and you get enough attention, they're going to notice, they're going to come in, and they're going to shut you down with a cease and desist.
Exactly, because you can't hit the scene with a Harry Potter escape room that blows up. You're all over tabloids, like, oh, amazing Harry Potter themed escape room, because then that...
Plenty do. Plenty do.
It's amazing to me that they try to do that. You would think they would do the research first, or at least I would do the research first before just running that high of a risk.
Make your own stuff. Just make your own stuff.
A wizard as a standalone thing is not a licensed thing. You can make a wizard-themed escape room.
If you want to work for Warner Brothers, go work for Warner Brothers. If you want to, I'm sure that's easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
But, that's the road. That's what you're looking to do. Then do that. For me, making something in the world of Batman
right
is definitely something I need to check off in my life at some point. A lot of people who have worked closely with me know that I had the opportunity to work on one of my favorite TV shows years back, which was Dexter, for Showtime, and we also worked on Homeland for them as well. And that was just off press from when we did Find Me.
Okay.
We had gotten a Twitter reach out.
Oh, so like they had seen Find Me and they were like, oh, these guys are good. We need them on the show.
Yeah, their director of media and marketing had reached out and direct messaged us through Twitter and invited me down to the Showtime offices.
That's awesome.
So we got to write and develop an entire theme for them.
A good example of how using original content could get you in the door with some of
these
bigger companies.
It absolutely could. And it's not to say that just because with Great Adventure that deal didn't happen. I'm still trying. I have a contact right now that is dealing with one of the most legendary producers of Batman movies in history. I'm not, I'm not getting into names and whatnot, but like we've got some feelers out to try to get, because that's a checkbox for me. If I'm able to one day make a Batman game,
my fingers are crossed for you because I would love to be a part of a Batman game. Oh, absolutely. I'll shave. I'll dress up as the Riddler. It'll be good.
So, it's like, go about it through the right channels. Obviously, the most popular IPs in the world are going to be the toughest ones to get licensing for.
Absolutely.
So, but like we've seen, and we've talked about it here, like there's an official Evil Dead.
There is, yeah. Yeah, there is.
So, like, it's not impossible.
No, it's just work.
Tough.
Yeah.
It's just work.
So for our last bullet point, I opened the floor to our friends in the comments and even to you, Tone. Well, I guess you did answer already. But if you were going to open a themed escape room or go to a themed escape room, which one would you pick? Personally, me, it's Star Wars. I'd love a Star Wars themed escape room.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Especially considering the Galaxy's Edge is and the hotel all have interactive theater and escape room elements.
Yep.
So go work for Disney.
Yeah.
Bye, Mike. We have contacts there too.
We do.
I get you in. Okay, next up and final.
Our last topic: a strategy to beat every escape room. A video on YouTube outlines a strategy that they believe to be the guide to win every escape room. There are 10 hints in total. YouTuber Mark Rober met with college professor Dr. Nicholson to discuss and strategize for different escape rooms. In the video, he outlined the 10 hints to all the bunch of different players who went into different games, and they all claimed to have gotten out of the room. Hour-long games in about 38 to 45 minutes with no hints. And I have the 10 tips right there. I won't read them all each one by one. This seems a little monotonous, but I will ask, because I did show you this earlier.
Well, right before that,
Yeah.
I got to interrupt you for a second.
Sure.
Because in our chat room, Cassidy just asked for a Dungeons & Dragons escape room.
I am 100% on board with the Dungeons & Dragons escape room. If Wizards of the Coast, if you're watching this and you want to work on Dungeons & Dragons escape rooms, my name is Michael, and I'm a huge fan of your work. It's Dungeons & Dragons is what opened me up to my love of puzzles, and I feel like, you could definitely do like a dragon-themed escape room. In fact, I feel like there's a company doing something like that right now that's in productions working on a dragon-themed escape room. Hint, hint,
Are you
wink, wink.
self-plugging Beast Caves?
I might be self-plugging Beast Caves. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Our next game coming to Red Bank. Okay, so on topic here. Can you beat every escape room with one strategy? I don't believe this is true. However, I'll hear it out. What's our list?
All right, so the list. So number 1 is think simple, which I can agree with.
Okay.
Yeah, no, simple enough. You go into an escape room, don't overthink it. But that is a good tip, I will say, because most of our first-timer escape room players come in and they hear the Morse code and they just completely gloss over the fact that it's what it is and they think it's something else entirely. But that's one thing. Step 2 is searching. Know what you're looking for. Rather, just kind of looking around the escape room.
Does anyone walk into an escape room game and... Okay, I shouldn't say that. I know people walk into the escape rooms with no clue what to do or how to start. But if you've done this before and you're looking to, up your victory levels, then I would think that the first thing people often do is scan the room and search.
Yeah, no, if, you would want to look around and say, all right, what am I looking for? Because obviously
Yeah.
this
So far, this is all like... no-brainer.
A no-brainer. Step 3 was organize your stuff. A lot of times in the escape room, you would open a lock, and most escape rooms adhere to the 1 key per lock or 1 passcode per lock. So put those keys and locks off to the side with the lock sticking in, or with the key sticking in the lock. Again, another self-explanatory hint.
That is, but a lot of people don't do that. So that is a good tip.
Step 4 was focus on what is stopping you. In escape room lingo, this was known as... Oh, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I remembered when the escape room reviewers
Room
came
escape
in.
artists?
Yes, room escape artists, when
David
they came
and Lisa.
in, an input. They were asking for an input. That's what it was.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to keep organized on all that stuff. One of the things that they do exceptionally well when they play anywhere is communication.
Yes.
And we've talked about that on other episodes. It's like shouting in a kitchen. Like the sous chef to the cooks to the line. Everybody's got to be in synchronization and talking about what they're doing so you don't repeat.
100%, absolutely, because one person can solve one puzzle, but if you don't communicate that to the rest of the group, they're going to try to solve the puzzle that they thought was...
100%.
Exactly.
Yep.
Step 5 is assigning team roles if you come in with a group.
That's a little difficult because if you're going in and you know everyone's strong points, that's a little better.
Yeah, but if you're just kind of like, hey, a group of my friends want to go try an escape room for the first time, you don't necessarily know what you're best at.
But we're going off the idea that these are seasoned veterans that are looking to win everything going forward. So, I could get on board that.
Step 6 was knowing the different lock types, which I actually think is a good hint because a lot of problems we run into where people don't know how to use certain locks.
All right,
you have
next.
There's a base knowledge of different code types.
Well, we've often said on the show, there's archetypes of puzzles.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I don't know, do they mean codes as in Morse code?
Kind of, understanding Morse code and the different ways that they could spell out Morse code,
tough.
or looking around the room for different signs on the wall, different maybe dots or dashes or something like that.
I'm sure it would assist, but that's tough.
Step 8 was how to pick out written clues, which is a huge thing in our Puzzles and Quirks games because all the clues are
for a lot of
written
those,
clues.
For a lot.
So it basically tells you how to look for maybe some letters are capitalized, maybe some words are missing letters. Step 9, look for patterns.
We just gymmed all of you.
And then finally, step 10, which is I think maybe one of the 3 steps that I am 100% behind on this list, is your guide is your friend, and by guide they mean game
The
master.
Game Master, not your enemy.
Not your
Yeah.
enemy.
Yeah.
I am a game master for Cure Z here in the Poconos, and I'll tell you this right now, when I give you a hint, I promise it's to help you.
Well, I don't think that following that list is going to get you a win on every single game.
Definitely not.
But it will help. And I'll throw you a bonus number 11.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Ready. I'm ready for it.
When you're in any game, whatever the camera's pointed at is probably the most important thing you need to pay attention to in that area.
I see how it is.
Genuinely, in any escape room situation, as game masters, we need to know that everything, whether it's engineered or programmed or not, we need to know it went off.
Yes.
So we aim cameras at important elements.
Yep.
So does every other escape room.
It's the truth. We have, the computer with the app that we've designed for this game right there, and then
And there's the camera aimed directly at it, and
there's
then
a camera
there's another
aimed-
camera aimed at Ava.
Yep.
So, there's, for whatever reason, cameras are always aimed at important content. There it is. Well, that closes out our first episode in the Poconos. It went off without a hitch. Even our internet caught up as we went on. So that was great. And I definitely want to say you did an amazing job with the outline.
Oh, thanks for having me
I
on.
think this was a really, really good content episode. So you'll be seeing us here again next week, same time, same YouTube channel on Trapdoor Escape Stream. So make sure to hit that subscribe button.
Smash that like button.
And we'll catch you next time.
See you
Thanks,
next week.
guys.